Hey, thank you for the privilege of your time. We are currently in York River Yacht Haven. It is November 2nd, and we dropped in, it'll be a week ago tomorrow. We were unable to kind of leave on Saturday. A bunch of cruisers, I think there was a weather window to kind of head south, and a bunch of them left on Saturday, and unfortunately, we weren't ready. We still had a bunch of provisionings to do, and the boat was a mess, and we just couldn't have gone. So we're hoping that we could have left on Tuesday, but it's now not looking like that's going to be possible. So I don't know. So in this video, we are going to talk a lot about our electrical problems that we had. It started with a trip to Just Catamarans right around this time last year, where we replaced our 2 kilowatt master volt inverter with a Victron 5 kilowatt inverter. There was a couple reasons why we did this. First and foremost, the boat, when we purchased it, only had 2 50 amp or 40 amp battery chargers, and since then we've added around, I believe, 1,500 watts of solar and 4 330 amp hour lithium ion batteries. And so, you know, if we don't produce enough with solar, then we have to run the generator to charge the batteries, and we're running the generator a lot just to compensate for the amount of amperage that it's able to put into the batteries. And so I kind of want a much bigger battery charger. And so we got a 5 kilowatt Victron Quattro. The other reason why we did this is we wanted to also be able to run and use our surplus energy to heat water for taking showers and that sort of thing. And we also wanted to be able to, in those very rare occasions, run our AC at night when it's very hot. So I'm going to walk through all the footage of that. And then I'm going to walk you through some of the challenges that we had through the rest of the season. And it gets a little spicy and a little challenging, and it's very frustrating. So anyway, I want to thank you for the privilege of your time. If you happen to like this video, before you leave, please hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, we're at Just Catamarans, and we have been here, well, this evening we'll be here about a week. We're here, and they finally got around to starting to work on things. So they're moving one of the inverters. Actually, this inverter, this Phoenix 3000, was right here, and this was for the washer. And so we had it over here, and right here, and then right here we had the a 2 kilowatt inverter for the house. So we're replacing it with a 5 kilowatt inverter, and that's going to go here now. It will give us 200 amps of charging capacity, which we're really super excited about that one. And you can see down here, these are our 4 batteries. They're 330 amp hours a piece. We're not sure what we're going to do with these existing 40 amp chargers. Alright, this is day 2, and the worker just left for lunch, and he let us know that we are going to be, probably power's going to be off when he gets back. So there's the new inverter. They look like they do some pretty good work. And unfortunately, he let us know that the fuel polisher and transfer pump, they're likely not to get to it till Monday, which even that is up in the air, we've been told. So that really is kind of a bummer, because we need to get down to Key West. We'll see how it goes, but tomorrow we'll have to kind of leave dock, which is going to be a big pain. But tomorrow the winds should die off and there should be a lull, and then we'll go empty our holding tanks. Unfortunately, they can't empty in slip, which really stinks. All right, this is day 3, and we've got the inverter installed, and, or not we, they do. There it is, and we're now starting to talk about the electrical modifications. They did this actually quite fast. I was a little surprised how quickly it actually worked out. It looks like they ran it over to here, and then they ran it up in here through that conduit, and it runs on over to here. Into here. Well, the output's going to go into the here, and the 2 inputs are going to get moved on over to here and tap in over here. So this is the genset breaker box. This is where shore power comes in. All right, here we are. It is Sunday morning, and I'm in the starboard hall, and this is where we're at thus far. So on the port side hall, where all the batteries are, and the inverter, the new Quattro 5 kV kilowatt inverter is there. Not kV, kilowatt. And so they're running actually a new shore power cable in and a new generator cable. This is the generator box, and they pulled a bunch of breakers out and stuff like that, and they're reconfiguring them, and I don't know. So right now we're in the process of draining the battery. We've been doing so now for since Friday or Saturday morning, because they obviously want to be able to run everything under full load and everything before we get out of here, including the chargers. So there's another thing that we're debating, is that I currently have 2 40-amp chargers, and I would like to keep those in parallel with the Victron, but they have some kind of hand-wavy explanations as to why you can't do that. I don't know. But I think that maybe I said, well, we're going to just wire it up anyway. Right now they kind of run, the breakers are in that box, which is over there. I'll show you in a second. And we're just going to run them anyway, and then we're going to see what happens. If I can't use them with the Victron, then I'll end up disabling them and pulling them out myself. This is the 5th day, and I guess they're trying to hook up the new shore power cables and the new generator cables coming in it. They did reroute it to 6 gauge. Got a lot of work in progress here. All right, hey, it's what day is it? It is Thursday, December 12th, and we are still at Harbortown Marina. This project is taking a little bit longer than we had all anticipated, I think. So we've been in here about 17 nights now, or 16, and they ripped out one of the panels down there. That was right there. That happened to be where the commuter relays and a bunch of other breakers and stuff for combining and switching over between shore power and the generator. And now we just have a single box now for the generator. They had 2 people working full-time yesterday, trying to tidy everything up. You can still see stuff's around. And they got the polishers in, they got the manifold kind of constructed, They've got some of the wires run, but they need to still run the feed and the feed and the return from here on both the starboard and port, as well as run the wiring, some of the wiring as well. Last night they said, well, I think we have about 3 hours. One guy says we have about 3 hours, and the other guy says, no, we've definitely got another 6 hours of 2 guys. So we wanted to get out of here last night, and because a bunch of wind came through, and it's turning up the seas for the next 4 or 5 days, and we need to get down to Key West to pick up a car and then drive back up north to pick up our son and his girlfriend, and then drive back down to Key West for Christmas. But now it looks like we can't leave until at the latest today, and right now that we have nowhere to go because the seas are turned up. So we're going to rent a car and drive back to Sarasota and change everything around. They've been, Raphael has been nice enough to say we can stay. Well, we really had no other choice because they need to be able to finish this work because we already paid the money. We wired them the money yesterday of the final invoice. So, yeah, it's been a long time in this marina. There's something going on with this marina. It's like right next to Fort Lauderdale, and the Fort Lauderdale airport, FLL, and it's got this black dust or something, or soot or something. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's on the deck, and I'm washing the deck every couple of days because it just gets on your feet, and you just track it all over the place, and your feet get black and stuff. And I don't know if it's because of the jet engines. I really want to get out of here. So anyway, we're going to rent a car. We're going to drive back to Sarasota, and then we will be heading back here. We'll be heading back here on Friday. Sitting out here in Garrison Bight Mooring Field in Key West. It's January 3rd or 4th or something like that. And we're going to be here about another month, maybe a couple, 3 weeks. We'll see. And then we'll head over to the Bahamas. And today is Clean Out the Freezer Day. Alrighty, it's Thursday, January 16th, and we were hoping to leave today. When we looked at the weather forecasts for yesterday and Chris Parker, it looked like there might be an opportunity to go east, and so we're checking it out this morning. Things change. It looks like it's changing almost hourly. I know the models don't get run hourly, but I don't know, every time I come back and look, it looks like it's different. And so we were previously talking about last night heading out around in the evening, coming out of Garrison Bight, coming out, and then heading across, and that will give the most time for the sea state to calm down. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever you want to call it, the Gulf Stream comes down through here around Key West, and so in this particular point, it's kind of east. We always kind of think about the Gulf Stream going north-south, but down here it's kind of east-west-ish. And so, so this east-west, this east wind is going to be wind against current, which is why we're getting this warning of a vertical acceleration. And it looks like, oh geez, we have a big something or other coming out on Wednesday of next week. Definitely got to be out of Morgan's Bluff by then. It's 7 a.m. and we are, 15, 16 hours into the trip. And we're about another day or so, a little less, but and we have been rocking and rolling since we started. and we're motor sailing when we can, but the wind is just pinching us off. So what else to say? Shreen just woke up and I'm going to be going to sleep. Alright, this is what we got. It's 10:30 on Friday, and I think we're almost got a few more hours and we'll be out of the stream. And it's a little crazy. It has not been comfortable at all. Hey, this is what sleep deprivation looks like, and we're almost out of the stream now, and well, in about 3 or 4 hours, and hopefully it will settle out, because we haven't had any settled water since we've left. Alright, Saturday morning, and it's 9 a.m. ish, and we are about 10 minutes from turning into Morgan's Bluff.
Alright, I don't know what I did. I sliced my toe open. What? And there's blood everywhere. We're in Morgan's Bluff, and we had a happy hour. We had a happy hour at Below Deck Beach Club and Grill, but we had bought these from a fisherman yesterday. These 4 lobster tails, and I think he asked us for 25 for them, and we gave him 30. Anyway, we got some salt and pepper and some butter and lime some juice, garlic and lime juice. All right, let's check them out. I don't know how many minutes we've been on, but look at that. They look awesome. Does anybody know how long you're supposed to cook them for?
All right, we came back to the boat last night around 5:30, and all the power was out, and we didn't know why when we left. Solar was nearly full, so we went through a big whatchamado to try to figure out what the heck was going on, and we went to bed around midnight last night and didn't figure it out. And we also had Raphael from Just Catamarans on text, and he's been super helpful. So this morning we woke up around 6:30. We didn't really sleep last night, and started working on it again. And it is now 9:46, and I think we have the culprit. And this is the Victron BMS, and essentially it was throwing an error when it was turning on. There was no load. It was disabling any loads from being drawn. This is the Lynx distributor, this over here. And so we have 4 lithium batteries under here, 330 amp hour each, and we got 2 MPPT chargers. So what we have finally determined, these are the relays for each of the starter batteries, and there's a remote switch for one of them, and you can also manually control them on and off. And this one was for the house, essentially, and this one does not switch anymore, and it looks like it's either frozen open. I guess it's frozen open. So I actually had a bus bar that I kind of pulled this out and put a bus bar across it, so now we can't turn off shore power. There is an inline fuse in here, and also they could always go in here and pull this 10-pin connector out, and it'll open up this relay right here. Alright, so maybe I told you, our new Victron 5 kilowatt inverter charger right there, it gave up the ghost about 5 days ago, and I'm gonna pull this out because I'm supposed to be getting another one. All right, it's finally out, and this thing is really heavy. It's about I think it's 60 pounds, maybe a little over that, I don't know. Wow, it came in fast, huh? Your mom's getting revenge with you.
Yes, my mom's very mad at me right now.
We hit 32. 37 and a half.
38.
They're heading for another boat right now. They're trying to get out another anchor. Now they're still moving. At least they're not going to hit that.
That guy.
What guy?
All these people are driving around.
Maybe he went to get a line or something.
Oh, she's on the.
All right, it's a happy day. It's February 27th, and it is almost 5 o'clock. And we have just picked up our Quattro 5,000 volt amp, 120 volt, 12 volt inverter charger. And this is the second one that we were grabbing. February 11th, I'm sitting down in the raggeds and I'm smelling something, and I'm thinking people are burning trash, and actually it was the boat. It's pretty heavy, so I'm waiting for my friend Joe to come by and help me take it out of the dinghy, but it is right there. All right, the new one is mounted, and well, it's on the existing bracket that was already there. Thanks to Joe, my friend, who helped me get it in here. Really very grateful getting it on the boat and everything. Thank you so much. All right, it took about 40 minutes to get everything hooked up, and obviously the hard work was done a long time ago when they you know, put all the connectors on and everything else like that. All right, Raphael at Just Catamarans came through again for us and has updated and configured the Quattro. Now I have to rewire this panel and separate out the generator and the inverter. Hey, thanks for watching, and as I promised at the beginning of the video, I'd kind of circle back and talk about some of the lessons learned in this whole exercise. The first thing that I'm very happy that I did was stand firm on the on Just Catamarans' willing, you know, desire to kind of remove those existing battery chargers. When I initially planned this refit with Raphael, one of the questions that he had posed was, should we go with two 3K kilowatt inverters or a single 5 kilowatt inverter? We didn't really need the capacity of the 5 or of the 6 kilowatts, and it was also a little more expensive. However, had I known what I know now, I probably would have went with the 2-3 kilowatt option, because it would have provided us with some redundancy. And so unfortunately, once they pulled out that existing Mastervolt 2 kilowatt inverter and we drove back to Sarasota, I got it off the boat, and that was stupid. I should have left it back on the boat, and in fact, it's back on the boat right now just in case we had another failure. So I think redundancy is super important. So we had some initial electrical problems initially where one of the relays had kind of, I guess, I don't know what it did, failed open. But then we went down into the regates with my friend David, and we were sitting out on the deck, and you know, I'm kind of smelling like what smelled like plastic burning and that sort of thing, and thought it was somebody burning trash, and it was actually our boat. The other very costly mistake that I made is once we had that failure down in the regates, I immediately started to try to figure out how I could get an inverter in the Bahamas. And you know, I went and jumped in a little bit too fast in sourcing one locally. I still don't know whether or not that 220 volt inverter that I purchased works or not. I haven't actually hooked it up. I probably will do so and then try to sell it. It looks brand new. It was in the box, even though the box is largely beat up and that sort of thing. But I kind of jumped in a little too fast and furious, and I didn't do enough research. You know, we spent, I think it was around $2,500 for that inverter. And I took a lot of risk on it. Okay, so those were probably the top 3 lesson learns and things that I kind of figured out in this whole exercise. The one thing I kind of mentioned in the video is that I'm very angry with Victron. And I'm a little angry with actually Just Catamarans as well, because it turns out I've heard rumors online on Facebook and various user groups and stuff like that, that this is a known issue with the 5 kilowatt Victrons, and that there's a refit that Victron does where they replace one of the boards. And so I ultimately did bring back my 5 kilowatt Quattro and delivered it to Just Catamarans, and they did fix it, and now I have it in a garage or in storage somewhere. But I'm a little angry that Victron sold me a unit knowing that it could perhaps do this without actually replacing the board. I'm also a little angry that Just Catamarans didn't tell me about this in advance. And then on top of all that, the whole warranty coverage on the Victron, while they did cover the repair of my existing unit, that does me a little good when I'm sitting in the Bahamas and I have another 3 or 4 months left on my cruising season. And so I ended up having to buy another inverter, and I spent another $2,800 on it from Amazon, shipped it to Reggie, flew it over to the Bahamas, hired a customs broker, and on top of that, I think I probably spent a little over $3,some hundred, maybe $3,500 on the new inverter. All I really wanted from Victron is for them to kind of compensate me for the money for the existing, or the, you know, the first inverter that I purchased. I didn't even want them to compensate me for everything, all my expenses in the Bahamas, but they wouldn't do that. And my frustration in working with Victron, you don't work directly with Victron in warranty claims. They send you to a third party that they kind of contract out, and you can't get anywhere with them. You can't talk to anybody within Victron. You deal directly with the third party, yeah, it really sucks. So I was ordinarily very happy with my Victron stuff, but now my opinion of the company is really soured, and I'm not necessarily sure whether any other company would be much better nowadays, but my experience with Victron was not good. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you happen to like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. It means a lot to us, and I'd really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, and hope to see you out on the water.